Now, another thing that's kind of challenging this week is permutations and combinations. A permutation is just rearranging the group of objects. So the ways that you can rearrange n distinct objects is n factorial. That's that exclamation point stands for factorial. And it means, n factorial means n times the number less than that, times the next number less than that, times the next one, and the next one, and the next one, all the way down to 1. So there's a little rule thrown in, is that 0 factorial is 1, because otherwise it wouldn't work. So here's an example. 6 factorial is 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that works out to 720. And 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and that's 24. So factorial is just taking that number times everything down to 1. Now, if I'm not going to rearrange all the items, but just select some and rearrange those, like how many different ways can the 3 horses come in, win, place, and show out of a race? Well, I'd have a bunch of horses, let's say 20 horses in the race, and I want to know how many different ways could I look at the first 3. Well, how many horses in the race would be the N, and how many places I care about would be the R. And here's a formula for you. N factorial over N minus R factorial. So in my little example, N was 20, R was 3. So 20 minus 3 is 17. So this would be 20 factorial over 17 factorial. And R is always the smaller number, and N is the bigger number. So here's an example. Find the number of ways of forming 3-digit codes in which no digit is repeated. So you're trying to select 3 digits from a group of 10. So N is 10 and R is 3. So 10p3 is 10 factorial over 10 minus 3 factorial. Well, 10 minus 3 is 7, so this is just 10 factorial over 7 factorial. And so 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 and so on and so forth over 7 times 6 and so forth. Notice that the 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 all the way down cancel each other out. And that pretty much always happens when you're doing these calculations. So all you really have to multiply is 10 times 9 times 8, and that's 720. So permutations really are just multiplying out a bunch of numbers, most of which cancel each other out. Don't be afraid of all of these numbers written out, because if you just remember that division cancels out multiplication. Oh, good. I'm glad you like permutations. They're nice. Now, you can also do these. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice you didn't spell it right. You can also do these using Excel. NPR means the number of permutations of n objects taken R at a time. So in Excel, you would type permut, P-E-R-M-U-T, parentheses, the big number, comma, the little number. And it would be permut, parentheses, n, comma, R, close parentheses. Remember to always start with an equal sign. The equal sign tells Excel that this is a formula. Without the equal sign, it's just some words. So 5p3 is the number of permutations of total of 5 objects. We're taking them 3 at a time. So we would say permut 5, 3, and that would come out to 60. You can also use the TI-83 calculator. And I just learned that the calculator, let me see if I can find this, that in your Student Center, in your course guide, and I just learned this today, and I didn't have time to actually go look it up, but we're going to do it together. Look right here. This is your statistics course guide. Statistics calculator, free app for your smartphone. Okay. https://play.google.com/store/apps, etc., etc., etc. And so you can get a calculator for your phone that will do these things as well. Okay? So I just wanted to do that real quick and see if we could find that. So now, TI-83, I'm coming back, Barbara, I promise. So first you enter the larger number, then you press Math to access the Math menu, then go left to access the Probability menu, drop down to number 2 to select NPR, and then you'll go back to the main screen, enter your smaller number, and press Enter, and voila, you get the answer. I used RealCalc for my iPhone, for my Android phone, and I like it. It does this too.